Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community.
Story 1. My friend, 22NB, and I, 23NB, started a casual relationship, had a nasty breakup, and now I'm scared I've ruined everything. My 23NB friend, 22NB, have known about each other since the 8th grade, but we didn't become friends until high school. We hung out pretty regularly, but it was never a one-on-one setting. Closer to the end of high school and near the beginning of college, we grew a little distant here and there. I had heard from other mutual friends that they were interested in me, but I never pursued it because I felt strange about the idea. Honestly, I think a part of why we grew apart was because I felt odd about that fact. It's a regret of mine now, and I wish I had allowed myself to get to know them sooner. I think as I'd gotten older, my ideas about love had changed, and I actually found the idea of falling for a friend and entering a relationship beautiful. It was June, and there was a Pride event happening close to where my friends and I live. I met up with a few of them and heard my friend, the one this post is all about, was going to join us. It ended up being a great night, and I was happy to see them again. The next time I saw them was a few days or a week later. They had invited some of us to a board game night at their place. It was fun, and we ended up all hanging out again at their place a couple of days later. By now I was beginning to feel butterflies. They seemed very nice towards me that night, and that made me think that they could still be interested. We hung out again with a group of friends, went to a party, and most of the time I was helping them walk, because we both had had a couple of drinks. I didn't mind it at all. It was cute. On the way home, while we were both in the back passenger seats, they asked if they could place their head on my shoulder, and I said yes. I think it was at this point that I realized I might have feelings for them. So for the next few days, I planned to hang out with them and see if I'd still feel the same way, because the last thing I wanted was to jump into a relationship with a friend prematurely and hurt them. It was like the third time that we hung out one-on-one where I finally asked them out on a date and they said yes, but that it had to be casual because they were going abroad and possibly staying overseas. It would also be an exclusive relationship. The relationship, as it seemed to me at the time, went along nicely. I was head over heels for them. There were parts of the relationship that hit some snags or some bumps, but I didn't really think much of it. Then came the day where they went off to another country. We had planned to break it off that day, but I said that I'd like to continue it and see if they stay or not and let that be the deciding factor. I don't think that was the right move. Now when I look back on the relationship, I hate thinking about myself and how much I was blinded by my feelings. I think I became too much for them, and they thought what I wanted they couldn't give, and they were right. I think what I wanted was something more serious, and they wanted something more on the casual dating side. Because of this, I think a lot of what I said and did came off as, and at times was, love bombing. We would call each other almost every day while they were away, and one day after I had a discussion with them about our relationship the day before, they ended up deciding what we wanted was too different, and it was inevitable that it would end badly. So to save the friendship, they decided to break up. I was sad, but it wasn't until they came back that things truly went awry. My emotions got the better of me, and while trying to get closure for some things, I got frustrated because I felt like they were avoiding me, which they probably were to some extent, and I should have respected that more. I imagine it's hard to talk to someone you broke up with not too long ago, or you just need the space. Regardless, I lashed out, and it wasn't the only time. 2 times we had an argument over text, and it got pretty bad. We both gave each other our belongings back, but ended up having a conversation about things a couple of days later. There were some things in our relationship that they didn't like, but never said anything hoping it would get better. We were only together really for about 2 weeks, and then they went overseas. During that time, we only went on one date. I don't know why I didn't take them out more. I guess maybe I thought that any time we spent together was time well spent, as in going to each other's house. I think I rushed a lot of things in our relationship, because the idea of them staying in another country scared me so much. I wanted to make the most out of our time. But maybe that's just what I tell myself to not feel so bad. If I truly did want to make the most out of our time, why didn't I take them out more? They also think things went too fast. I should have known that and taken things slower. I got all the closure I was gonna get, and it was a sad realization. but I was happy because things seemed to have ended well between us. The next day, I got a message saying they weren't comfortable being friends at the moment and would be on a no-contact policy. I was very sad about the relationship ending and was feeling the full effects of heartbreak. Talked to some friends and told them personal information, hoping it would help them give me better advice, but that was wrong. The things that happened and the things that I told them should have stayed between my friend, ex-girlfriend now, and I. There's nothing I can do. I've talked to them since and have agreed with them that I acted idiotically and that I was sorry for all the pain I'd caused them. We talked. I disagreed with some of the ways they handled the relationship, but in the end, I think I'm really the one who messed everything up. I think I permanently damaged this relationship, and not just the romantic part, but the platonic one too. I wanted to be a good partner for them, because I don't think they had many good ones, but I ended up being just as bad. We've actually started talking again, but it's different. They don't really text me the same way, and usually I'm the one asking if they would like to hang out in person. They seem like they have fun and enjoy my company. They even hug me when we depart from each other afterwards. But still, something is different. I don't want to say sorry anymore because sorry doesn't fix anything. And at times after hanging out, the very high highs are followed by very low lows. Honestly, deep down I still really like them. I've thought about it for a while since, and I honestly do think I love them. But I can't focus on that. I think if I want to be good friends again, I need to do away with those feelings, but it's so difficult. As of right now, I'm taking my depression and anxiety medication very seriously because at the end of the day, I think what really caused me to behave this way was fear and anxiety. And it's on me. I should have been more diligent. I'm visiting my therapist often because I don't feel comfortable talking to very many of my friends about this. There are some things I didn't go into detail about because they don't really have any importance in this. Basically, I wish they had communicated with me more about things, but at the end of the day, what I'm struggling with is not their actions but mine. I've talked to my therapist about this, and they don't seem to think the blame is as one-sided as I think it is, but I find myself disagreeing. Right now, I think I'm just a really broken person. The guilt haunts me, and I've talked to friends about it, and none of them really hold it against me, but it's not enough. And I know it's unhealthy, because I feel like the only thing that could give me satisfaction is being able to go back in time and prevent all these mistakes from occurring. I'm afraid I've permanently damaged this relationship. I kneecapped it. I'm scared we'll never be really good friends ever again, and I feel disgusted with myself for still having feelings for them. I feel gross for it, and I feel like it's wrong. I guess the question I have is whether or not I should ask them where we stand with each other. Are we friends? Definitely think there's no chance of anything more. Advice on how to mend a friendship and whether that's even possible? During our relationship, we shared a lot of intimate moments, but right now it feels like I can't open up to them like that. I'm nervous to talk to them about serious questions, but I want to communicate with them about things and be as transparent as possible. Story 2. I'm F26, feeling exhausted trying to compensate for and finding solutions to butts. M28. Potential ad while he doesn't seek help. My Beth and I are on a rough path. We both want the relationship to work and for the other to be happy. Our issues regards communication, lacking intimate conversations, lacking quality time and activities, broken promises and difficulties getting through everyday tasks like cleaning, cooking, and scheduling. The latter we're slowly getting better at, but it takes reminding, prioritizing, and managing on my behalf. 8 months ago, we encountered a psychologist who said she thinks he might have AD, and that it could be the reason for at least some of our struggles. Since then, it's made a lot of sense to both of us. We were close to breaking up 2 months ago because I was exhausted from trying to communicate my needs. Wait for him to do as he promised, and in general feeling alert, anxious, and sad too often. We stayed together, partly cause he said he got a wake-up call and that he'd start working on all the issues. It lasted 2 weeks maybe, and now we're back. He doesn't want to do the work. He promises things he doesn't keep. He doesn't check in with me or communicate what is going on. He's demotivated by it, demanding him to put energy and effort into it. The central issue right now is he's promised for the past month that he'd call a psychiatrist to be put on their wait list. It will then probably be 2 years before he is called in. He's told me he can't focus on other interventions until he's booked the time. But he doesn't book it. I've told him it makes me sad, and I feel like our relationship and his promises to me doesn't matter. It makes him sad and frustrated to hear, yet he doesn't do it. Now, I know this could be a core symptom of AD, and I want to be supportive and patient. However, I am getting more and more frustrated. I find myself criticizing him more than I like. I find that my trust is vanishing, and I can hardly kiss or hug him, because I am so frustrated and sad by now. It's all bottled up. We've tried talking about it 1,000 times, but it's like he's either not really participating in the conversation, or then he says things one day but doesn't act accordingly the next. I've asked him several times if this is about him not wanting the relationship or not really wanting me. He keeps kind of convincing me that is not the case and that he wishes for us to be together. However, he forgets / it slips / he can't. Honestly, I don't know what happens, because he doesn't talk to me about it. I am well aware that I have things to work on too. I just wish it was teamwork and not me alone trying to figure it all out, and then him not participating in the solutions. I want to fix it, but things are so static and I'm going more and more insane. I am not the person I want to be in a relationship, and I know it makes him feel bad too. I guess my question is, how can I motivate him to seek help? How long should I wait for things to change? And have anyone experienced that the situation did in fact change? I do believe these things could be bettered drastically if we educated ourselves about AD, and he started putting in the work / using strategies. I'm not looking for answers that totally disregards his potential diagnosis, because I think it'll give the wrong indication of how much of a struggle things like initiative, communication, and keeping promises are to him. Story 3. Help with how to break up with my 25F, boyfriend 22M. I have been dating my boyfriend almost 5 months. In the beginning, as things often are, it was great. We communicated in a similar way and made a lot of time for each other. As time went on, I felt as though effort ceased on his part. Texts would go hours without response, whereas before it would be quick replies. I do not mind someone being busy and spending a few hours between texts, but he would often disappear with no warning in the middle of a text, and we wouldn't call that day either if he forgot to contact me. He lives in 1.5 journey away, so we only met once a week. Additionally, when we first started dating, we spoke of all the things we wanted to do together. However, due to his busy schedule, we did none of these things. Sometimes we couldn't even eat dinner together because he'd get off work late, and our time together that week would be 2 hours in a cafe before I went home. He apologized and said it is just part of being an adult and that he's busy. But eventually, this lack of seeing him and the lack of communication really got to me. I was planning on breaking up with him in July, but got cold feet and things improved for a little while. I told him that communication and quality time are important to me, and he put in effort for a week or so, and then it stopped. Since about a month ago, I noticed we are fighting very often. It is about the same thing over and over again: communication and time. About 2 weeks ago, we had the worst fight we have ever had. He was feeling stressed from work, so took time off to barely talk to me for 3 to 4 days. I was extremely hurt that he didn't tell me he wanted space. He just ignored me. He came to see me as a date after this and was being extra lovey-dovey, explaining that he sees a future with me. But I was dissatisfied that we didn't discuss our fight and see how we can compromise so that we don't both feel mad. When I discussed this, it went terribly, leading to our worst ever fight. He said that I am childish and obsessive, and I stress him out by being affectionate towards him. He screamed at me down the phone and told me there is something wrong with me, that my behavior is not normal. And then he canceled our date due that week and said he is too mad to see me. I was upset because he had a business trip abroad the next week, meaning I wouldn't see him for 2 weeks. I explained that this feels like a punishment, and he is not my father to be giving me punishments for what he deems as bad behavior. He said that this isn't a punishment, but I need to learn to take responsibility. I upset him. He doesn't have to see me. The next day, he has calmed down and is talking to me normally. I am still upset because he ignored me for the whole day until he felt better. I want to discuss what happened and talk it through because his words hurt me. So I do. And then he screams at me again, this time telling me to go to a psychiatric hospital. He said I am causing all of our fights and he doesn't want to talk to me if I am going to act like this. I told him I want to talk about why I am upset about our fight, not about the original issue that is still unsolved. He told me he doesn't want to listen to what I have to say, that he knows I'm just picking a fight because I am mad at him that I missed his date. I tried to explain that no, I am insulted that he called me a child, and even said to one of our friends that he ignores me when I am mad because I am childish and that he doesn't want to reward bad behavior. He then hangs up on me and, surprise, surprise, texts me the next day like things are normal. I am getting major emotional whiplash at this point and was insanely down. I decided I need to end this. He then paid me back the $1,000 I lent to him for a trip we booked a while ago. And then he went abroad, which means he doesn't have signal to text me nor call me. He called me once to ask if I could help him change a flight. I was waiting for him to come back to break up in person, but he asks me why I sound down, and I explain I am not feeling good now, and honestly, I am not sure if I can be good in a relationship when I feel like this. He told me that it is just because I am upset that we fought, and when I feel better I can be a good girlfriend again. I said I want to talk to him about it when I am back, and he said, no, let's be positive when we meet. Stop the negativity. I am supposed to see him tomorrow. He landed back, but we haven't arranged anything, except that I will likely have to make a 3-hour round trip to see him after work. Honestly, he really terrifies me when he is angry, and I sometimes think it is better to wait until our trip is over and then break up, but that is months away. I am so insanely miserable, and I don't want him to think I am a horrible person, or that I waited to get my money back and then left him. I am willing to pay the $300 cancellation fee for him, as long as we can break up amicably, but I have never gone in person to break up with someone before, and I am terrified. Maybe I am clingy and annoying and too much. Maybe there is something wrong with me, and anyone would react the same. I was 100% on my breakup plan, but now he is acting as though everything is normal, which is making it so much harder, and I don't know what to do. He has a lot of my stuff that he borrowed, so I would have to see him again to get it back. I have very low self-esteem anyway, and I'm scared he may guilt trip me into staying in this relationship.